What is going on, guys? And welcome back to the weekly recap. This is the week 12 edition. And there's a lot going on here in the Dazed and Confused Fantasy Football League. Like Mark picking up and dropping Will Lutz today. That was a funny transaction. Devin immediately picking up Will Lutz. A minute after Mark dropped him. The league is it's getting spiteful throughout the land. Top six from ESPN, horrible top six, is as follows. Austin number one, don't agree. Brian number two, should be number one. Greg number three, not that surprising. Finn number four, not that surprising. Me number five, and not putting enough respect on my name. They never have. Draft day 11, like, I'll see where I have me on the rankings, but I think it's above 5. I did make my top 12 and already forgot it. Devin number 6, fall from grace. Mark number 7, fall from grace. And we're about to recap that right now. The first matchup, I clicked on Fantasy Cast. That is definitely not it. First matchup, a matchup I am very happy to start with. It's me versus Mark. I want to let you know that before this matchup, I am without my first and second round pick. Jamar Chase and James Cook on their buys. Not injured or anything, just on their buys. And, the team gets it done. Now, there's kind of some MVPs that are like real obvious MVPs of this team. But when you look at it, like all around, pretty good performance from the lads. Now, you want more from the running back position, obviously. Ramondre and Tyrone, like, how am I supposed to trust you going into next week? Tyrone on a short week. But, DJ Moore, in a season of doubt, comes through in a big way. Nico Collins has returned in a big way. Didn't get a touchdown called back this week. Oh, wait, yes, he did. So he could have had more. And the real MVP, the practice squad player, Nick Westbrook-Akina, comes in for Denny time in a time of need when these players are out this week and gets it done. Packers defense is my defense. I traded the defense and people were going crazy earlier. It's because I had these guys. I think I dropped them, but I knew I wanted them back. And I got them as soon as I can. And Aubrey getting 11.4, very solid figure performance, especially when we get talked shit about in the Discord. Like Brandon Aubrey isn't him. So what if he missed his first 2 kicks? Jaden Daniels, garbage time galore. It's like garbage time. Well, I think Jaden Daniels at the end of the game looked good, but then the rest of Mark's team. Oh, and you get a good performance from AJ Brown, but he had a mountain to climb after. I think Josh Downs gets injured. Kareem Hunt kind of gets thwarted. Kenneth Walker, I don't think he got enough work. No, he got 16 carries. Just a bad day. 2 more 6 carry. Kind of the story a little bit. You're not that upset with Ridley. It sucks for Bowers, but he has a QB care, so Broncos defense not bad. And apparently he could have played Will Lutz that have got him the win. He did have him, but he made a kicker switch. Like, this guy's panic is losing him weeks. He is not about it anymore. Anyone who's ever worried about Mark, don't be. You could beat him without your first and second round picks, bro. Fall from grace, his 4th straight loss. And, let's go. Let's move on. We'll talk about what this means to the rest of the league in a bit. Now, what this means to the rest of the league, Brian versus Devin. Almost 100-point loss. Now, I even pulled up the old website to go look at our record book here. And I'm seeing Brian putting up 172 and 172 2 weeks in a row, the second and third highest point totals in our league's history. 2 weeks in a row. Yeah, man, like, what a performance. Saquon Barkley leading the charge with Tua coming in, Waddle having his blow-up game of the season. You had Elijah Moore suck, but it didn't matter. Like Jahmyr Gibbs doing what Gibbs has been doing. Trey McBride, huge, might have been his best game of the year. Maybe second best game of the year. Nope, best game of the year. Trey McBride, number one. Good kicker start, good defense start. He does lose Dobbins. But oh yeah, let me just put in Josh Allen and T. Higgins to this team. Now Brian might be a problem. Devin, fall from grace. What is going on? I know we had the two huge bye weeks, but Steve May and Tillman, like this one is bad. You didn't get a tush push week. Brian Robinson, Pooper, Jameson not bad. Jackson, but gosh, man, what a gross performance here from Devin. Can I see biggest win? It's the biggest win of all time. It's the biggest win of all time. Devin testament to his legacy as getting shitted on the worst way ever in our league. I want to let that be known. Love to see that. I mean, when you say tough loss for Devin, really tough loss. We'll see what this means going forward. Finn versus Phil. This might, and I think it actually did confirm that Phil is done. Najee doesn't in. Debo doesn't in. Juwan Jennings. I mean, he's got the 49ers here with no Brock. It's just kind of a bad look. It's a Bijan and Devontae bye week, and we don't get the necessary plays. It's a devastating loss. Obviously, Finn's when it comes in MVP, Lamar Jackson. The tough starts of the running backs. His running backs besides ETN. That guy sucks. The running backs are just so solid. Courtland Sutton is coming to be a huge piece. You do wonder about Reed and Metcalf. But, I mean, you look at Keenan Allen. You look at Jerry Jeudy on the bench. And, Finn's team is kind of looking pretty solid as well. It's a whole tough season for Phil, I'll say. But, maybe he could play spoiler in these last few weeks. All right, next matchup, we have Austin v. Vincent. I didn't actually pay too much attention to this matchup. Quentin Johnson with the gooser. Sean Boutte. Now, Vinny had a tough bye week, but and he started the Mario Douglas, who didn't do horrible. His running backs do all right. Gino kind of doesn't do anything. Niners defense -1. I think that won him the weekly. So it's not all bad for Vinny, except for his season is over. Yes, he will also try to be playing spoiler. Austin Wynn comes from the wide receivers after having a bad week, have a great week for Austin. Covering for actually the running backs who are just projected like 31 against 17. You're not too upset with 17 in your running back room, but when they project 31, you're like, okay, that sucks. Also, James Conner. I think Bucky Irving coming out. He does have Stafford. Maybe it's Stafford going forward. Austin has some decisions to make. There's still some pretty easy decisions. Austin he is a good team in this league, but not my number one. It's definitely Brian. So, Austin, good win. Vinny season's over. Josh's season might be over with this bad week against Greg. He didn't get it from McCaffrey and Mixon, and then Pickens in. Also, Zay had a down week. I don't think he has the win on the bench, but there are some numbers here on the bench. But you're not confidently starting Jacoby Myers over like a Austin Eckler. Maybe you start Ladd. But it's just an 8-point swing. It's not even like huge. Yeah, it's just a bad week from Josh's team. Greg surprisingly does well. You get a big Mahomes game, big Pollard game, but then everyone else just kind of like does enough. Malik and Amon-Ra getting 9 doesn't isn't backbreaking. You think Devin Singletary is the worst start. He gets like a random touchdown and 20 yards. You survive your Alvin Kamara bye week by playing Christian Watson, who only gets point 0.4, but you still are fine because Josh really poops himself. So Greg, I think this is a big win streak for Greg. I think Greg is actually a top team in this league. Surprisingly, I think he came out the woodwork, and I'll see if my rankings reflect that because he's not that bad, especially when he gets Kamara back in this group. Like, all he has to do is figure out a flex because I like the top end of the team, especially if Patrick Mahomes is actually doing something. God, so congested. Next, we have Ray versus Mateo. Mateo, of course, when he is like 2-7 in the season, he thinks the season is done. He wins like 3 in a row. His team, again, not horrible, but he just gets a bad Ray week. That's enough for the win. Bo Nix is definitely his best player on the team. DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams kind of don't do great. You get a bad Justin Jefferson game, but great kicker defense start. That's a huge play. CeeDee Lamb getting just his workload, 11.4, you're very happy with. And you get a great Puka Nacua game. So, Ray, his season might be over, but, a lot. The wins on the bench with Jordan Addison. Do you play him over Reek Evans and DeAndre? No, I don't think you do. Maybe DeAndre, but I don't know. I would look at Addison and DeAndre and go with DeAndre. So it's tough. Tough loss for Ray, but his season's not fully over. 5-7 still gives you, I think, a calculated percentage in these final 2 weeks. All right, to look at the standings really quick, right before we preview the next week's matchups. We're getting down to the nitty gritty, fellas. I wanted to look up FFHub. That sounds like porn, but I swear to God, it's actually a good tool. Let's use playoff odds. So for our league, it has only 2 people completely eliminated, being Phil and Chen's Vinny. And it kind of cemented Austin at 100% of clinching, being 8-4. And I think that, yes, because the worst he can be is 8-6, and yeah, I think that wins him a playoff, like guarantees him playoffs position. Only a 33% chance to get the first seed. Now, what I was surprised about, seeing me at a 21% chance to get the first seed, and this is crazy. What a turnaround. Somehow I've gotten to 91%. It's kind of positioned as the top 4, pretty just close. But then I look at, like, I don't know, because obviously there's only 6, so it's saying these final 2 are even above like 60%. I think that's too favorable. I don't know how they do these calculations sometimes, but the league is getting close in these final 2 weeks, so these matchups, again, are run backs of your own division, are getting pretty serious. Everyone is fighting for their damn lives. All right, now let's preview some matchups. Let's go into the edge count. I went 4-2 last week on the matchups. I'm just cooking. 55% on the year. Like, I just know ball, guys. What can I say? The stats are here to back me up. And now that we're previewing this matchup, let's revisit it here. First matchup, Dennis versus Josh. Me versus someone who is fighting for a season. Christian McCaffrey, Joe Mixon running back combo is nothing you can ever sleep on. It's definitely better than my running back situation. But I also have like 2, like, probably the best wide receiver core, I'd say, closing the year. That's my favorite thing. Nico Collins is still ranked 17, even though he missed, how many weeks? Is that 5, 6? It's 5. He missed 5 weekends, 5 weeks in his running. God damn, wide receiver 17. But, they're giving the overall team total to Josh in the projections. But we just had a Josh bad week with almost this exact lineup minus Lad. It got 70. So everything can happen. Anything can happen in this league, especially when you're starting Anthony Richardson at quarterback. Man, you don't know what you're going to get out of here. Josh can't get enough of him. I know it gives projections to him, but I give edge to me. I got my matchup wrong last week because I didn't pick myself, and I'm picking myself this week to show confidence. Let's go. Next matchup. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Now, I take Mateo here in this edge count, and I'm calling that early just because I think Mateo's team's getting hot. He takes out Javonte Williams. He puts in Chase Brown, who was on bye last week. And, yeah, I mean, you're not. I think he has every position kind of figured out. If he makes a good defensive pickup each week, 7-7 could be sneaky. We'll see what this actually means. In the position wise, I gave Mateo an 11% chance. That's just more than I thought for someone who was just like 2-7. So something to keep an eye out on is Mateo because I like his team. Now, obviously, Greg's team is not horrible, but he has Christian Watson here at the flex and not really great options here on the bench. I know Greg even won the last matchup, but I'm giving edge to Mateo. God, I am so sick. Not sick, but just like congested. Holy shit. Devin trying to stop the building from falling down, but it just seems to be what he does at the end of the season. Now, I want to look at Devin's actual, because we have the stats to back this up. We have everyone's record throughout the weeks. Let's see. Devin, 3-6 in week 13, which is this week. that is not good. And the newly established week 14, 2-3. Devin also known for a bad week 1 and week 3. Interesting. I close out my year, 11-2 in week 11. Am I the week 11 god? Yeah, I am. That's crazy. But yeah, Devin 3-6 and 2-3 in these final 2 weeks of the season. I mean, yeah, the stats are also there. Devin wins his last matchup. He scores 134, but I mean, look at these team comparisons. Running back room is Devin's like best options, but Brian Robinson is kind of losing it. Well, I love Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry, so giving him that. McLaurin and Cooper going forward, I even like more than Drake and Jackson. I'm gonna be real. Devonta Smith in the flex, not loving it. Bucky Irving. Now look at that against Carolina. You bench Marv, you bench James Conner, Brian Thomas. We still don't have Stafford in. We're going Russ again. Interesting. Okay. I think Austin wins this though. Edge count Austin. Marcus Ray. Ray's team is just like we're learning. It's just not that good. Especially if he doesn't have Purdy, it's done. Maybe play Addison, but do you want to bench Mooney, Evans, or Reek? No, you don't. Don't love. I mean, the running back room is just not going to beat Kyron and Kenneth. I give edge mark. I think Ray's P8 merchant days are done. First season max not looking too good for the lad. All right, but tough year for Ray. I think this means Mark gets it a little right. Maybe he claims his playoff position here, but I do give him the edge. Kind of cheering against him. Vinny doesn't have his players in. I'll look at the swing 3 and put in for Booty. So 6. I mean, it's only +9 in projections. It's 99. I still think it's like obviously better, but damn. Finn versus Vinny. Vinny trying to play spoiler, but Vin's team is good. Gives them both wide receivers. I'm not confident in Reed anymore. I'm going to be real. Maybe you play Judy, but that's so better than what Vinny's got going on over there. I think Edge goes to Finn. Vinny trying to play spoiler there, but I don't know how successful he will be. Next we have Phil versus Brian. Trying to play spoiler. Phil here, but I don't know. Brian's my number 1 team in the league. Let's do the breakdown. They're giving Bijan over Saquon. Yeah, I just can't agree with that. I like his running back room more. I obviously like quarterback more. They're giving both wide receivers, but it's Devo and Devontae who are just so volatile. I think Jalen and T are looking way more up. He's starting a second time in Jonnu over Mark Cooper. Oh no, he has Gus Edwards now. Oh my, he has Gus. Wow, wow, wow. That's it. All right, we have a play here. I think, I think Edge goes to Brian. I think Brian will win that. All right. Now, my rankings for week 13 is Brian's on top, scoring second and third highest points in our league's history the last 2 weeks. I think this is the guy looking the best going into the playoffs right now. Austin wins, but it's not bad at all. I actually have Greg at 3, Finn at 4, and me at 5. I have the same ranking as ESPN, I think. Maybe I have Brian on top and they don't. I think that is the case, but I did not have me higher. I had me the same. So apparently I agree with ESPN. But Mateo's shooting up my board. Still out of the playoffs, but you never know what can happen. Apparently I'm marking my playoff spot over Devin, which is kind of insane. But we'll see. How is this compared to the beginning of the year? I had Brian number 1 at the beginning of the year. Me number 2. I had myself at number 2. But I mean, hey, Brian's getting it together here. I think it's looking scary. All right, fellas, that's it for the weekly recap. I appreciate y'all for watching these, and to laugh, let's look at Devin's little graph for skilled and unfunny for this season. They're skilled and unlucky. He has this weird chart. I always look at this on the way out. Unskilled and unlucky. Who is he coming at? Himself? Mateo? Josh? Skilled and lucky. Is that Brian? Oh my god. This points for is going. I'm unskilled and lucky. I'm so done. What's my luck meter? He always runs this too. I don't even know. I forget how these are calculated. Am I lucky? I'm kind of lucky. Greg is lucky. Austin lucky. It's crazy. Who's the most unlucky? Phil. And I'm going to have to kind of agree. Wow, wow, wow. All right, fellas. I will talk to y'all later. See you next week.